Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Sapphy.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all the storytelling, world building, and characters of video games. Because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, this is episode 79.
Woohoo!
I have no idea what it's about.
Right, we switched it up again.
But before we get into the episode, if you want to contact us through social media, you can do that over on Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, or Reddit. Links down in the description. You can do that through email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that in two ways. You can give us a 5-star rating wherever you are listening to the podcast, provided they allow you to give ratings. Not all of them do. We know that. Mm-hmm. Thank you if you do. And if you'd like to support the podcast monetarily, you can do that over on patreon.com/loretogether, where you can pay a per-episode pledge to get early access to episodes, as well as access to our Let's Plays, our audiobook, which I have to get back to,
yes,
and other stuff. The audiobook is Unreal Tournament. Bet you didn't know there was a novelization if you haven't listened to our
and
episode.
read in the order as suggested by one of the authors of
Still trying to track down the Primal Rage novelization.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
I've seen it go for as much as like $400 on eBay.
Yeah. And the Tales of Laura Aydukin, which is the beginning of All Roads Lead to Dad, is
Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
Dragon Age Dreadwolf, yes. That is about to have its first episode be released to the public, but you can see all 5 episodes if you're a patron.
I think we're behind on posting them on Patreon, but I have to get to that.
We had a crazy week last week. We actually, for good reason.
We have a lot of crazy weeks.
We have a lot of crazy weeks, but last week it was for good news. So, just give us a break, okay?
Yeah. Anyway.
But with that,
let's jump in. What are we covering?
We are covering...
Are you going to make me guess?
A game that you know.
Oh, it's going to be one of these again. Okay, so it's not a franchise that...
Right.
All right. Last time you did this, it was Primal Rage, so...
Well, I'm surprised. Have you seen anything of what I've done with any other writing or anything?
For this episode?
Yes.
No, I have not seen anything.
Well, I'm glad that I was able to hide it because I thought I was doing it very poorly. But it's possible that you didn't notice it because I usually have this wiki up all the time these days.
Okay, I know what we're doing now.
Okay. You want to say it, Mystic?
We are doing Stardew Valley?
Yes! That's why I thought you might guess.
Honestly, that's good. That's good hiding then. Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, that worked out. I should be a spy.
Only when it comes to Stardew Valley.
Only when it comes, I can be a Stardew Valley spy. What kind of international secrets would happen? So, for those of you who don't know, I believe it's 7 years ago, a guy who went by the pseudonym Concerned Ape decided that he was tired of trying to get into the video game world, willy-nilly, and just made his own game. And made I should say it was released 7 years ago, and made the indie classic farming simulator that is Stardew Valley, where the premise is your humble farmer has decided to take up their late grandfather's offer to take over his farm that he left them so many years ago when he passed away.
When he passed away due to terrible beds.
Due to a very terrible bed.
The artwork in the game is very well done, like all around, because it's that nice pixely look. That bed just, for some reason.
For whatever reason, it just looks very bad.
Yeah, I know the opening of this game, and I'm curious. First off, my 2 questions are, one, you know so much more about this game than I do.
Yes.
Because I've played maybe 20 hours, and most of that was goofing off without really diving into story.
I think across all 3 of my saves now, including the one I have on my PC, I have played about 300 plus hours. I am a member of our Stardew Valley memes, I have a friend of mine in my D&D group that I share the memes with, and I have watched a ton of the little tips that are on YouTube because I find it to be one of the best ways for me to relieve stress, and I've been in a really stressful part of my life right now.
Yeah, I think most of my time in the game was spent figuring out how to romance. I can't remember her. Like I cared so little about playing this game.
Emily was your favorite. The crazy woo lady.
And the rest of my time was spent just going through the mines and doing those little quests in the mines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mines are fun.
I've barely scratched any storyline or anything that the game presents you. I don't think I finished a full year, like a single playthrough yet.
Yeah. I
think I'm on my second year, but I think I'm like a quarter
I wouldn't
through.
say I've gotten to the point that a lot of the Ultimate players would say is the playthrough. But the great thing about Stardew Valley, and it's another reason I like coming back to it, it's very much kind of like Animal Crossing, which about a couple years ago was my obsession du jour, because it's a game that you can frame the gameplay to satisfy your own personal wants and desires. You don't have to do the mines, but if the mine's your favorite thing, you could do only the mines. You can fight the monsters, you can avoid the monsters, you can talk to everybody, you can ignore everyone.
Yeah.
There is considered an official way to do perfection in the game, the goals you should complete, but that's an option. It's not a requirement. It is not a game that has a very defined end. And in fact, that's why I'm not talking about it today, but one of my favorite, somebody in our Stardew Valley, I wish I remembered, their favorite, like, fan canon, like, made up canon is that this world isn't real. What actually happened is the game insinuates that the farmer actually was in an accident and you're in a coma at your grandfather's farm recovering. So you hear everybody's voices because they've come by to visit. Nothing changes in the game because nobody ages. Your kids only get up to toddler age if you decide to have kids with whoever you decide to marry. Nobody gets older. Nobody dies off. Nobody new moves in other than one character. And
yeah, I mean, it's also like there's gremlins and dwarves and weird little alien dudes and
yeah, it's this idea of that it is a utopia of your own making as you're trying to recover. And the reason I like this canon, it's not because I think it's necessarily what Concerned Ape meant to do, but I do think it reflects on how the game can bring peace to the player in so many different ways. So I would say that even though I don't think that canon is the canon I always play with, I like the idea of it being a respite of some sort. Even this one's kind of a very morbid idea of respite, but the game is a nice resting place. If you have a point in your life where you need a little dopamine kick, it's perfect for that, and it's perfect for you to structure in a way where you feel more productive than some other games that are complete Skinner boxes. So anyway, we're not going to be covering fan theories about the premise of Stardew Valley, though.
Okay. I have a bit of trepidation about this one.
Why?
Because the last time we covered a game like this, it was The Sims, and that was very, very deep in the weeds on relationships.
Okay. I don't think it'll be quite like that.
Okay. I mean, I toss a lot of characters at you, too. I vaguely know these characters.
We'll be tossing some names, but we're not going to be going over, like, all of the 28 villagers you can first meet in the game, or all of the monsters that you could have a relationship with, all of the goals. And in fact...
Are we going to discuss Pierre's terrible prices?
We could do that on our live stream.
I'm joking.
We'll do it on our live stream. How about that?
I have to buy this game.
It's on Steam, guys, and I don't know if it's on GOG. I know it's on Steam. But this whole episode is actually a refutation of a quote in the game that for some fans like me is super annoying. It actually comes from Shane, the alcoholic bachelor that lives on his aunt's farm, and it comes during the Feast of the Winter Star. For those uninitiated, the Feast of the Winter Star is essentially an allegory for Christmas, where Pelican Town, which is the town your farm is right next to. Stardew Valley is the area that your farm is in, and it is right next. It is pretty much part of Pelican Town.
Yeah. And there's no months. Like, there's not a December.
No, the way time works is each season is 28 days.
Yeah.
So it's truncated years and truncated seasons.
It still feels like it takes forever.
It can, depending on how you're playing it. So for the Feast of the Winter Star, Pelican Town gathers together to celebrate the ability to see a bright star that only comes around the winter. Long ago, people far and wide would come to the valley to visit the star and see its wonder. And actually, there's a story that there's a fisherman named Willie in the game who tells you the story about how people felt that it would bestow good luck upon you if you saw this star. As if to respond to an argument that you had not started, speaking to Shane at the event will yield this line on your screen. I've met some people who believe in spirits and magic, but me? I've never seen anything that couldn't be explained by science. This episode is here to refute this line because it just irritates me. It seriously irritates me. You can easily argue that Stardew Valley is a low fantasy setting, and we will do that today without talking about the revolutionary 1.5 update that expands the lore and the world so much more. Everybody has access to the 1.5 update, but there's so much going on.
When did that come out?
That came out like right before we bought it for the Switch. You and I have bought it for the Switch.
Okay.
But it came out a while ago for PC and the Switch, and it just now came out for mobile players. So everybody can now experience it. But it's still pretty new to a lot of people who played on mobile, which is also a place where it kind of exploded from what I can see. So because of that, I'm not going to get into anything in 1.5 because there might be some people who don't want those spoilers. So we're only going to deal with the stuff that's before that. So let's get to it. Why is Shane wrong, really, is what we're going to be talking about. Mystic is like rolling his eyes like, what did I just get into? What did I sign up for?
No, I just forget sometimes that you and I have different ways of doing episodes.
Yeah, I wasn't going to necessarily try to make it an essay, but really it became an essay.
That's all.
That's how it works for me. The first evidence that a player would get regarding the supernatural nature of Stardew Valley is in Pelican Town's community center. After your first week of harvesting parsnips, clearing trees, and talking to all the townsfolk, Mayor Lewis invites you to take a look inside the abandoned community center. At first glance, you find a building that has been long neglected with floors exposing the dirt underneath and plants taking root where they can. It's a sad sight, but it's not anything special. That is until a green little ball with a simple face, stem, and stick limbs appears when only the farmer is looking. Mayor Lewis assumes you saw a rat, but the player knows this is not a rat. If you enter the community center again after that cutscene, you find another one of these creatures further into the building, in what is the abandoned crafts room. It leads you to a golden scroll that has a foreign writing on it. Now, some players have deciphered this on their own without waiting until the next day, but if you haven't played it before, don't worry. This isn't a puzzle to solve. There will be plenty of others out there in the valley.
Is it just a simple substitution font or whatever?
It is, and
Okay.
I remember somebody posted on the Reddit that they did it before they saved to get to the next day, which then triggers the next step, and he's like, I didn't need to do any of that.
I vaguely remember this cutscene that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the little dudes are kind of trippy.
They're a little trippy.
They also don't match the rest of the art style, if I remember correctly. Like they're kind of.
I think if you get into the mines and you look at some of the monsters there, they kind of do, some of them. But I can explain that more later once we have.
I'm saying they may fit in the mines, but I'm saying they don't fit in where you see them. Like when you see them in the community center, that they don't seem to fit. They just kind of feel like they're 2D in a 3D space, even though it's all 2D. Like it just.
Well,
yeah.
We can comment on that. After you read the Golden Scroll, the farmer will receive a letter from M. Rasmodius, who is more commonly referred to as the Wizard. He invites you, the farmer, to meet him at the Wizard's Tower, which is southwest of the farm at the edge of the map of the Cindersap Forest. If you want to know where that is, just check out the wiki, but it's a bit of a walk away from your farm. And the Wizard's Tower is a tall gray brick tower covered in ivy that, depending on the season, may have flowers blooming on it.
I just remember the first time seeing him, I was like,
yes,
not what I expected.
When the farmer finally meets him, the wizard confirms that what the farmer saw was actually a Junimo, a little spirit of the forest. The wizard makes it clear that they typically don't respond to him, so he knows little, which kind of makes sense. So when you first meet the Junimo through him, he kind of like forces one to apparate there in front of you and binds it in a circle. And it's kind of a confrontational feel. And as you get to know the wizard, he's kind of a guy who keeps everybody at an arm's length away. So he's not trying to get to know you or the Junimos very well. It makes sense that the Junimos are like, well, what are you doing? Like, just bringing us here for nowhere or forcing us to work with you.
It's funny you say that, actually, because I'm trying to remember the few festivals I went to. He's usually on the map, but not in the midst. It's like him and the homeless guy are off elsewhere. Very
specifically, there's only a couple of festivals where you could even talk to the wizard. Now, apparently there is dialogue if you do reach him and speak to him, because there are little glitches where you can do that.
Oh, of course.
But
possibly intentional ones.
There's one where he's backed off in a corner so much to a festival. When you find him, he goes, "Oh, I thought I hid myself very well. You might have the talents of clairvoyance in you." He's like, "You found me? What is this?" So when the farmer mentions the golden scroll, the wizard teleports to the community center and then comes back into the tower to confirm the forest spirit script that few can decipher. So not only does Pelican Town have a wizard, but he's actually a ridiculously powerful guy who could do amazing things without feeling the need to explain it to his new neighbor. The translation of the scroll is as follows. We, the Junimo, are happy to aid you. In return, we ask for gifts of the valley. If you are one with forest magic, then you will see the true nature of the scroll. To read the script on your own in the future, the wizard makes a potion for you to drink. After a trippy scene with floating trees as you become one with nature, you are now able to read the script of the Junimos. Returning to the community center, the farmer is able to see what the Junimos request. As the farmer continues to fulfill these requests, 6 scrolls are revealed, each with several bundles of items related to aspects of Stardew Valley.
Are those those are scrolls?
Yeah, so they're called scrolls. They're referred to as scrolls.
Did I just not notice that there were scrolls on the interface all this time?
It's also kind of hard to tell, like especially playing on the Switch or anything where you have a screen. If you're playing on a console, it might be so far away that you can't even necessarily see exactly what they're alluding to. They're referred to as scrolls.
Okay, I always thought they were just like boxes. And
it feels that way because once you open them up, you actually see. Actually, I was about to. It's in my script. When you open it up, it has these little bundles you're supposed to click on to see what you're supposed to collect. So I could see how you could confuse it as a box. That would make sense.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look like little wrapped up
packages. Yeah. The first one revealed is in the crafts room, which requests forgeable items. After one of the bundles. So this is not the whole scroll. Each scroll has several bundles on it. But after one of the bundles is completed on that scroll, one scroll is revealed in the pantry and one on the fish tank, with bundles for items that are farmed and fished respectively. With the second completed bundle on any of those available scrolls, a 4th scroll is revealed in the boiler room related to items that are either mined or in the mines. The 5th scroll revealed is on the bulletin board for items related to interests of the characters living in Pelican Town. And the 6th revealed is in the dilapidated vault that gives rewards for paying gold.
Okay. So I picked up like most of those being why they were what they were. It made some sense. The vault being money made sense. It never occurred to me that the bulletin board was because those are what people wanted. It never occurred to me that was like, hey, these were left here back in the day before this whole collapsed. And
so if you're doing the main bundles, the bundles on that bulletin board will refer to characters, but not by their name. Like, one is the Fodder's Bundle. And the fodder is actually referring to Marnie, who owns the farm. She's the aunt of Shane, who we are refuting this entire episode.
I don't think you like Shane.
There's a fan base for him, but he's so rude in the beginning, and I've never gotten over it. I just can't warm up to that character. He's not for me, and that's fine.
This is all the opposite of doing a whole episode on Solus because you liked him. This is a whole episode on...
I didn't do a whole episode.
No, you did it because he's a central character in the plot. But
I did a whole episode that referred to Solus a lot. I didn't do a whole episode on Solus.
That's true. We did do a whole episode on Varric.
We did do a whole episode on Varric, and I did it because he's a storyteller. But anyway, and it's not the opposite of that. It's just this quote in particular annoys the heck out of me because he says it even if you like him, he'll refer to that. And I just like, dude, you literally live across the forest from a wizard in a tower that your aunt references. So I know you know it's there. What the heck?
I'm just wondering if the scientist character, I can't remember his name. There was a scientist.
There is a scientist. His name is Demetrius.
Okay. Does he have any comments on that aspect either?
No, he doesn't really comment on that at all.
Okay.
And in fact, it's funny, his daughter, Maru, who's actually someone who is a marriage candidate, is a super scientist who, if you get up to 10 hearts with her, builds a sentient robot that shoots off into space. So fantastical sci-fi elements as well. And it's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy mix because there's not really anything to suggest that she has really good computational skills.
Well, it sounds like low sci-fi, low fantasy.
Yes, exactly. Each completed bundle gives the farmer a small reward, whether it is seeds or food or items that can help with the many tasks in the game. Once all the bundles on a scroll are completed, a major improvement to the town happens overnight thanks to the Junimos. You get a little cutscene and they do a little back and forth dance, and then the next morning something's changed.
Yeah, this game is kind of like unlock the cutscene.
Sometimes, yeah.
It feels that way where it's like go to the festival, get a cutscene, get the relationship, get a multiple cutscenes, get unlock this, get a cutscene. It kind of feels like it's a lot of busy work to get cutscenes, which is true of a lot of games.
Yeah.
So that's not meant to be dismissive.
I think it's also the nature of doing something that's a 2D pixel animated thing. You're going to have to do that.
Because my point was going to be that the cutscenes are all usually really well done. There's a couple that
they do not overstay their welcome.
No, the craziest one to me is still the Mermaid's Dance, but
that's my favorite. That's like one of my favorites because it's just so bizarre. We'll have to cover that in another episode. I'm not covering it today.
A whole episode on the Mermaid's Dance?
Not a whole episode on that, but we can make it a subject later. When the final scroll is completed, the community center is restored, and the Walmart stand-in, the Joja Mart, is chased out of town by the power of good feels from a rejuvenated small town, now more reliant on the farmer and, in theory, each other, than the seductively low prices offered from a megacorp.
I still want to do a run through where I just pay them money.
That is also an option. So for those of you who don't know, the community center option is kind of like the fun game option. If you want to do the I just want to get the stuff done option, or if you want to do I feel like being quote unquote evil, because a lot of people feel like this is the evil way out, you can buy the Joja membership, which closes down the community center, and then you pay just money to get the projects done. And then once you pay for all the projects done, then Joja Corp rewards you. So it's... But
Here's
a lot
your
of
pizza party.
But a lot of people prefer the community center. The community center is just more fun because it's more of a challenge.
Yeah.
And
I probably wouldn't even do it. It's like Outer Worlds.
Yes.
Where, I'm going to play a corporatist character, and I never can.
I personally can't. And it doesn't even matter as much in this one. You're still able to build the relationships with most of the people and everything.
Yeah. It doesn't help that all the corporations in that thing are cartoonishly evil.
Yeah. Oh, Our Worlds is cartoonishly evil. This one's got some cartoonishly evil stuff. If you think about it long and hard, it's not that bad. But I think the thing that's lost is the connection to the town itself, which is what the Junimos are essentially trying to facilitate. And why were the Junimos in the community center in the first place? As each scroll is completed, the Junimos confess that they only enter once nature takes over an abandoned structure. They happily return it back to its rightful owners once reclaimed, and are happy to help fix the structure. They literally say, when the trees moved in, so did we. They're not trying to stay there, but once nature reclaims the building, nature is in there.
I'm very annoyed right now.
Why?
Because for some reason, I missed the connection to like the nature aspect. I must have missed a couple lines of dialogue or stuff in my playthrough.
You missed the trippy scene of you drinking the forest nature binding potion?
I think I was just skipping through dialogue at one point. Maybe little buddy was causing something, and so I completely missed that part, and I thought they were little alien dudes.
From what I could tell, they're not alien dudes.
I seriously thought they were little alien dudes. My headcanon was, because whenever you do complete a thing, they take a box up into their little
Junimo hut.
Yeah. I thought that was like going to turn into a spaceship at the end. I never finished the game, though, so.
That would be cute, but that's not what happens. It just disappears.
I had the entire wrong interpretation because I probably missed a couple lines of dialogue somewhere. I just thought it was a trippy scene at one point.
No, I think you just missed the whole point of like being able to read forest magic. There's other things.
Yeah, I probably just skipped through that whole dialogue because of a time constraint or something.
Yeah. You know, you just forgot it because the little buddy was right there.
Oh, I remember why. I started playing and didn't like the game.
Oh. No, it's not for everybody.
And then I went back to it, and then you discovered it.
Yes, true. They don't say why it's a fetch quest, but it is suggested that Junimos wish to encourage an attachment between humanity and the land that they live in. With this, we can come away with a couple of facts about how magic, or at least the supernatural, works in Stardew Valley. 1, it is real and there is no arguing that. Full stop. 2, it can be mastered by beings both human and otherwise. 3, it is somewhat anti-corporation. I won't say anti-capitalist because the argument can be made that the farmer's success makes them an oligarch in a small town that the rest of the citizens are somewhat dependent on. With that backbone, there are other extraordinary things that can easily become part of the farmer's routine. The mines are a great place to dive in. I won't argue that every creature you encounter as you collect ore and artifacts is wondrous. It's safe to say that slimes, dust sprites, bugs, and bats are part of the several ecosystems in each level. But strangely enough, you do encounter ghosts. They just haunt on over towards you to hurt you.
Through walls.
Through walls.
Yeah.
They jump through everything and they just go... Boom.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff that goes through walls.
There's more as you progress.
Yeah, I've only gotten to that one hard dungeon that pops up randomly now.
There's other stuff that will float over there. You'll also encounter walking skeletons, stone golems, and floating skulls ready to attack whoever crosses their path.
Those are the ones I hate.
Yeah. There's even worse. Once you finish the mines, you can then get a key for the Skull Cavern. And the Skull Cavern has flying serpents. And those are hard. I hate those things.
Oh,
they are the worst. I hate them with a passion. They do this little sound and then they rush at you. And especially as you're getting used to the skull caverns, there's this part of you that's like, no, die. And you're trying to kill them as fast as you can. And they just give you some PTSD. It's just bad. If they swarm you, you're done. You're like, done. All right. I'm going to lose half of my loot here at the skull cavern. Sorry. Yeah.
No, Linus is going to steal half your loot.
That's the theory, that he steals your loot. He says,
somebody pickpocketed you.
Yeah. And when you get killed in the mines or a mine-like thing, it's not Linus who fishes you out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Somebody else will fish you out. There's no real explanation as to why they are in the mines. The ghosts, the floating skulls, the stone golems, the serpents. They just exist there. This is not a game that feels like everything you interact with needs a fully fleshed out background. And to be honest, Stardew Valley is probably better for it. However, that just leaves the fans to imagine why the mines are so inherently dangerous from when the farmer first decides to descend down to the bottom. We don't know why the ghosts are there. We don't know why the skeletons can walk. We don't know where they come from. We don't know why the levels are so different. We don't know why when you go down the mines, there comes a point where it's insinuated there's like a dungeon set up in there. But
we have no idea why when you get to the very bottom of the mines, there's a key to an arcade game.
It's not to an arcade game.
Is it not? Am I misremembering stuff again?
I don't think it's... it might open the arcade game. I have to look that up on the wiki.
What opens Junimo Cart? That frustrating thing I've never been able to do anything in.
It might be that key, but it also opens up the Skull Cavern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up. I'm sorry.
Let me step all over Sapphy's script.
Actually, hold on. I'll look that up right now. So I just checked on the wiki, and Mystic is right. It does do Junimo Cart game that's in the arcade in the Stardrop Saloon, but it also unlocks the Skull Caverns, which I use it more for, because Junimo Cart is insanely hard. I cannot beat that game. I will not try to beat that game, because what is it? Platforming.
Don't feel bad. I don't think I've ever beaten a single level of it either.
There are people who can beat it, though, because they're
I might do better on it.
Amazing at it.
On the PC? Maybe?
Yeah, I haven't tried it on the PC. I know the game you could originally do at Stardrop Saloon, Journey of the Prairie King, I can play that decently, and I am getting better at it on the PC, but that's on the PC.
It's Smash TV.
Yeah, that's true.
It's Smash TV.
The wizard will ask for assistance from the farmer, indirectly sometimes, to obtain items with magical potency that can be found in the mines. Some are seemingly random, while others are rather specific, including ectoplasm from ghosts. Random side note, if you are a player who didn't realize you could only collect ectoplasm or prismatic slime during the time you're pursuing the wizard's quest, please know that now. You can't find it randomly and keep it set aside unless the quest is in action. So, yeah, fall of your first year, there's a job board, and the wizard will put up these as potential jobs. You will not get these unless you take the job and you complete it within the amount of time.
Yeah, that was some frustration for me because I took the job for prismatic. I saw the job for prismatic slime.
Yeah.
Went down to try to get it before I took the job.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was...
No, you're not going to get it unless you take the job. And even then, sometimes you don't always find it while you're trying to do the job. Sometimes it takes...
No.
You have to, have it spawn, and it's just annoying.
I think it took me 3 tries of having that job. Finally, when I understood you needed the job to get it, it still took me 3 tries to finally get one.
Yeah, about the same here, I would say. Definitely. One other supernatural thing that may become commonplace to the farmer is the fortune teller channel on the TV. When you first move to Stardew Valley, you receive a television in your home that, depending on the day and quests completed, can have 2 to 5 things to watch each day. One show the farmer can watch every day is the fortune teller. Welwick will reach out through the TV and give a fortune reading on the farmer, and will confirm how lucky the farmer is that day. Luck, it turns out, is an actual factor in a person's day-to-day life. Welwick's predictions are accurate when it comes to certain factors of the game, letting the farmer, or the player, know if their luck is good, bad, or neutral. Luck adjusts the probability that certain things happen in the game, a lot of it pertaining to the mines. For example, on each floor of the mines in Pelican Town, there's a chance that hitting a rock will reveal a way down to the floor below. Luck will either increase or decrease the chance that a way down will appear. It also affects the amount and what resources are found and the amount of lightning that will happen in a thunderstorm. Unlike our world, luck is a metaphysical manifestation that people experience in this world. You can even increase your daily luck chances by consuming certain foods like pumpkin soup or spicy eel. Luck is a provable concept that is confirmed by a real-life psychic if there was someone in the valley willing to run the statistics. And it is technically like a factor in your gameplay. It's just a probability chance in the code itself.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the fact that you have a fortune teller specifically telling the farmer through the TV of all things how lucky they are, it is a real thing that people experience on a metaphysical level.
So it's different than, say, Fallout's luck score, because it's basically diegetic.
Yes.
So as opposed to Fallout, where it's just gamification.
Exactly. Welwick is technically not always right. The farmer can have their fortune read by Welwick each fall at the Stardew Valley Fair, and part of her fortune telling is based on your top skill and top 2 relationships with the villagers. But that is not tracking luck. Also, funnily enough, you typically see Welwick at the casino dismayed that luck, at least that day, is not actually on her side. Mystic didn't know there was a casino. A lot of you might not know that either.
In the festival, or is there an actual casino in game all the time?
There's a casino in game. There is a quest that allows you access to it. But you have to be able to get secret notes, and the secret notes will allude to the ability to meet a certain person who will give you access to a casino. That character, I don't want to spoil for anyone.
Get this for PC.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil that for anyone because it's technically not part of a 1.5 update, but they're also important in the 1.5 update, so I don't want to allude to what might happen with that.
I had copies of this through Humble Bundle. If I had known I needed one, I would have kept one.
It's
so
okay.
I just got to buy it again. That's okay.
That's okay.
Please support us on Patreon. No, I'm just kidding.
Just plug it right in there. It's very Joja of you. But Welwick and the Wizard are not the only 2 human magic users in the valley. Well, I think she's human, but I didn't see anything conclusive in my research. I'm referring to the Witch. Earlier in the game, there are a couple of opportunities that the player may have encountered the Witch, although indirectly. If the player has a chicken coop, there's a small chance each night that the Witch will fly over and drop a void egg. It's a black egg speckled with red dots. You can eat it. It's poisonous. Don't eat it. Sell it, turn it to mayonnaise, or incubate it and hatch it into a void chicken. Void chickens have black feathers, red eyes, and will lay 1 void egg each day if properly fed and housed. This actually is relatively harmless compared to the second thing that could happen. I briefly mentioned the slimes earlier found in the mines. They can come in different colors and strengths depending on where you find them. Turns out, if you want, you can actually build a slime hutch to farm slimes and their eggs, breeding them there and occasionally getting slimes and other items to sell. Each night you have a slime hutch, there is a chance the witch will fly over and turn every slime in the hutch black. Oh, you bred your slimes to be a beautiful, profitable rainbow. Congrats, all that work is practically reversed now. You can prevent this by placing a wicked statue in your hutch. It's something you can craft yourself or buy the statue from everyone's favorite sewer monster roommate, Krobus. We could touch upon monsters another day.
I didn't even know there was a witch.
How have you not gotten a witch? Never mind. You might not have even built a coop, so I'm going to leave it alone.
I built a coop, I just bought a void egg.
You didn't buy a void. You can't buy a void egg. Did you buy it from Krobus?
I believe so.
Yeah, then that's where you could buy a void egg. Okay.
But that's, I don't think I've ever heard the witch, seen the witch, and I've had a chicken coop, but I don't know how long I've had it for. Maybe 1 season. So the odds just may not have hit
yes,
yet.
The odds were not in your favor. Back to the witch. She enters the story again when the character completes the community center. The wizard will reach out to the farmer to ask for a favor. They meet him at an entrance to a cave behind the train tracks. It turns out the wizard sealed off the entrance after he split with the witch, his ex-wife.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. He admits that he made a mistake that drove her away, and in her anger, she became green and began her loathsome habits of terrorizing the countryside with eggs and slime mutations.
Okay.
He had sealed off her home in hopes of protecting the public from discovering her, but awkwardly left his magic ink in her house. He sets the farmer on a multi-step fetch quest in order to gain access to the witch's hut, and then retrieve the ink for him. After you retrieve the ink, the wizard will be able to sell the farmer magically infused farm buildings, including obelisks to transport to different areas, a clock that can prevent fences to deteriorate, and curiously enough, a Junimo hut, where you can have your friendly little Junimos gather all your crops within a certain radius around the building. They don't come out in the rain or in the winter, but otherwise will pick all the crops near their hut. They basically just wait until it's ready to harvest, and it doesn't matter what tool you need to use to harvest. They'll just go and be like, beep, and just take it. And then you can pick it up in a little sachet that's outside their hut later.
Okay, I have to actually hand it to Concerned Ape, because that is a lot more depth than I felt this game had when I started. I thought it was just a goofy farming sim, which let's be honest, it is in a way.
It is a goofy farming sim.
Yeah.
It is goofy. There's some goofy parts to it for sure.
But, like, you can automate it.
Yeah. You can use it. There's a lot of people who like to gamify it themselves. Like, okay, how do I get all these crops around this one Junimo hut? How many Junimo huts do I need to cover this whole farm in Junimo huts and just plant the most expensive crop the first day of the season, and then wait for the Junimos to do their work.
See, I'm gonna automate it now. I'm gonna get the crossover between Satisfactory and Stardew Valley.
Satis Valley? I don't know. From that same quest, you will still have access to the witch's hut. Curiously, you never happen in there when she's around. I guess she only lives there when the farmer is asleep. Regardless, she will have 3 dark shrines that the farmer has access to, and for significant offerings will change the farmer's life in questionable ways.
Oh?
Mm-hmm. First, there's a dark shrine of memory. If the farmer has divorced someone, offering 30,000 gold to the shrine will erase the memory of the farmer from their ex-spouse. Questionable at least.
I was going to say, that's...
awful manipulation at worst.
No.
Yeah, that feels... it feels creepy. But people do it. They have the option to. They're going to do it. Next, we have the Dark Shrine of Night Terrors. The farmer can offer a strange bun, which is a real item one can find or create in their kitchen, in order to allow monsters to appear on the farm for the farmer to fight at night. A strange bun can be offered again to stop the monsters from coming. Finally, the most infamous of these is the Dark Shrine of Selfishness. To understand this one, first know that, yes, the farmer can not only get married, but have up to 2 children. Without modding the game, you can have up to 2 children. Gameplay-wise, the children are pretty boring. They're increasingly energetic sprites that are typically bound to the home and can wear hats you buy for them. It's cute to think that the farmer has a family, but considering they require as much care as a pet rock, many players find their existence in the game lackluster. However, if the farmer offers a prismatic shard, you can turn your children into doves thanks to the Dark Shrine of Selfishness. They will fly away and disappear from the game forever. This is definitely coded as an evil act in the game. If the farmer does this, a couple of the updates add events where the children will haunt the player. I won't spoil them for anyone, but yeah, the farmer is not the good guy if they do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's some interesting abilities story-wise that you can...
Everything can be explained by science, Shane. Really?
You get very bothered by that line.
I'm still very bothered. The man could be a dove right now, and he's so lucky he's not. But he's going to say everything can be explained by
science. You know how close you came to becoming a dove? It just took one shard. I couldn't find it in time. And then you grew up. You're not, you know what? Disappointed in you. Should have been a dove. Outside of these shrines and the wicked statue I mentioned earlier, there are a couple other magical statues the farmer can interact with. At some point in the game, the farmer will gain access to the sewer, where they will find the Statue of Uncertainty.
once you level up to a certain point in the 6 skills available in the game, you can choose certain professions that give you bonuses to tasks. This statue lets you pick a new one, essentially resetting those bonuses the night you make the request. All you need to offer to statue is 10,000 gold.
Is that all?
Yeah, just 10,000
It took
gold.
me forever to get so much money in this game.
Once you get to a certain point, though, like, you're just a money-making machine. You're practically an ATM, so, like, you could do it just for kicks.
To explain how bad I was at this game, though. Mm-hmm. When do you start? Spring?
Yes.
It took me until summer to figure out how to plant stuff because I didn't follow the tutorial. Because I was bothered by the game when I first played it, so I skipped through all the dialogue, and that was a mistake.
Why would you do this ever when you play a game? Why would you ever do this when you play a game for the first time?
I bought it expecting... So, to preface why I bought it, when I went online, I said, I like Animal Crossing. My kid likes Animal Crossing. What's a game like Animal Crossing we can play? Everyone goes, Stardew Valley. So I got Stardew Valley, and it was not what I was expecting at all, and I didn't get into it because it's not what I was looking for.
Interesting. So. Okay. You know what's a better game if you have the Switch for a kid? Miitopia.
Yes.
Miitopia is actually a lot more entertaining. If you just want something that you can play in front of your kid, it's fun for you and it's fun for them. Miitopia.
And then when I went back to Stardew Valley, I didn't do a new character. I just picked up my old character on day 8 or something.
Right, yeah. So then you've missed so much stuff. Once the farmer befriends the wizard, regardless of if they've done the magic ink quests, they can go into the basement and offer 500 gold to the Shrine of Illusions in order to change their appearance. So basically, like, oh, I decided I want my hair to be pink. Let me just pay 500 gold to the Shrine of Illusions. So, statues are evidence of civilizations, human or otherwise, having magic for some time. However, there's magic in the natural world as well. As we've mentioned, of course, there's the Junimos. First introduction of that. Once the farmer can find secret notes, there's one that asks, with very charming spelling, to bring maple syrup to the secret woods. If the farmer does this, you have to be able to do certain things to access the secret woods. They're able to speak with a bear that acknowledges the farmer has some forest magic infused in them. I suspect this is from the potion the farmer drank to read the Junimo's language, but I haven't confirmed this. The bear will thank the farmer for bringing the maple syrup, and in return will imbue them with the bear's knowledge, which increases the selling price of blackberries and salmon berries. To end this episode, I would like to celebrate a character with no real lines and no real purpose other than a bit of whimsy that brightens aesthetics. That character is Trash Bear. A fat and happy creature found in the Cindersap Forest once year 3 of the farm starts. The farmer can approach Trash Bear only to be greeted with a request. The first 2 requests are items that can be either foraged or fished, and then the final 2 are cooked dishes. The farmer can find these items and give them to Trash Bear, who will consume them immediately and nap. Then you have to nudge Trash Bear again to figure out what they need next. Once the last item is fed to them, Trash Bear will play a tune on some panpipes before flying up with an umbrella a la Mary Poppins. With a quick swish, the trash found around the forest is cleaned up, replaced with more attractive foliage. Trash Bear will also clean up the character Pam's messy front lawn and give the doghouse to the rarely mentioned Dusty an upgrade. This is a quest that isn't about the farmer's needs or immediately rewarding them some new trick or item. Instead, this is the farmer taking a chance to help a portly mammal they happened upon, and in turn, the world is just a little bit better with the help of some magic. Stardew Valley is a game that doesn't really have an established magic system or supernatural hierarchy that we understand, but is extremely present, and I haven't even touched on every single part of the game that exposes it. However, there's one thing I think we can conclude from all of this, and that's to say Shane has had to try very hard to ignore the fact that Stardew Valley cannot be completely explained by science, and Pelican Town has benefited from that fact that magic is in the world.
I'm still just amazed at how annoyed you are at this line.
Why put it in there if it's not true? See, and there are events that you literally witness things that are magical, specifically the walking skeletons. You can witness them in the fall, when they have their little Halloween allegory festival, and Shane basically doesn't even mention seeing the walking skeletons. He just goes, "Why is the pumpkin ale gone?" And you're just sitting there like, Shane, you're literally going to tell me next season that everything can be explained by science, but you haven't bothered to explain to me why the skeletons are walking behind you. They've got no organs, they've got no batteries, they got nothing going on there. You're just being obtuse, like extremely obtuse. And I don't know, maybe that's on purpose from the way he was written. It's just annoying. It's just an annoying line, and it just feels like it says that his character is at least unobservant, and at most specifically ignoring aspects of the real world around him. But overall, we can say, despite that, Pelican Town has magic, and and it's a good thing that it does. So, because if not, how you get the community center back?
Fair. You paid JoJo more money.
You don't get the community center back that way.
No, but the town gets better.
Yeah, after you pay a corporation who really doesn't need the profit. Okay, yeah, sure. The thing that's also weird about supporting JoJo Mart is because your character worked for them and felt like they were just a cog in the wheel, in a machine. Like they just felt they just knew this life wasn't for them. They literally are leaving their cubicle once you start the game.
Yeah.
So to go back to them and say, hey, oh yeah, you're fine, I'll support you, it feels wrong for a lot of people story-wise.
Yeah,
so that's why people don't do it.
It is kind of a weird character turn. I'm curious how we're going to do our stream about this too, but we can discuss that later.
Yeah, there's plenty of magical stuff we can figure out. So, well, I hope everybody learned a valuable lesson today.
Don't listen to Shane.
Don't listen to Shane. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get so much hate. He's got a lot of defenders.
Sapphy's telling you here, don't romance Shane.
You know what? If you want to, that's fine. I'm not here to take away who you love. He's just not for me.
Look,
just not for me.
My character went for the wooey crystal healing one. So
I mean, at least she's a little bit more aware of reality then.
Okay. All right.
That's my conclusion.
On that note, thank you all for listening.
Thanks so much for listening. Catch us on the live stream where Mystic will introduce us to some magical stuff.
And then on the off weeks, we will still be doing Scars of Arcadia for the foreseeable future.
With the longest of ship battles, but we'll try to make them as entertaining as possible.
And we are getting towards the end of the plot. We have a lot of stuff to go through, but It's about to kind of pick up in pace.
Yeah.
We've already explored the whole world.
Got the whole world on our map. Yes.
All right, we're going to go. Thank you for listening.
Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.